All right, welcome to another episode of Lifestyle Unlimited. Listen, the question that I want to ask you, Peter, is how important is health over wealth or vice versa? Like, how do you feel about that? Like, I know a lot of times we talk about, ways to make money, things like that, how to increase your lifestyle financially. But your lifestyle is a complete image, right? It's not just one or the other. So tell me a little bit about, like, how do you feel about that? How does your health play into your lifestyle?
Well, I think they're 100% totally related. One of the things that I get asked so often is like, the people say, well, Pete, you talk about being successful in different areas of your life, and most people that are like dominate something, they don't just dominate one thing and they're total disasters in every aspect of their life. Most people that are good at something, they tend to be fairly good across the board. And so the follow-up question I always get is like, okay, well then if I want to be, let's say, wealthy, right? If that's my definition of being successful, what's the next thing, Pete? What's the next thing I want to challenge? And across the board, I always tell people the one thing that's the most related to wealth is health.
Yep.
And so a lot of times they don't make the connection. Like, well, why is health so related to wealth? Well, in wealth it's all about money. Health, it's about, your health. Well, here's why I say the two go hand in hand. If you think about it, like think about your own journey, Julie. Like, I think it's safe to say that as we become successful, as people go through that, what I call road to success, you have to do more. Right? You have to work more. You have to work harder. You have to stay up later. Many times you can't really eat as much as you want to eat, or sometimes you have to eat bad stuff for all the times you're on the road and things like that. And so think about this. What's the one crutch that you have? The ultimate crutch you have in being successful is you have to be healthy. Right? You got to be healthy. I remember, like, for instance, for me, when I was dead broke, I still had to find real estate deals, right? Well, guess what I had to do? I had to go put up bandit signs. Well, putting bandit signs out during the day is not a good use of your time, right? During the day, you want to talk to sellers, you want to make offers and all this. Well, guess what? I would literally get in my car around 11 o'clock every night, and I would just drive around Atlanta, 285 loop, and I'd go to all the exits, and that was about a 3-hour drive for me, 4-hour drive. Well, guess what? If I didn't have the energy, if I didn't have the stamina, if I didn't have the wherewithal to not have to sleep, 24 hours a day, which some people do, maybe not 24 hours, but we know plenty of people that need like 10 or 12 hours of sleep. So what are all those things? Stamina, energy, not having to sleep as much as maybe, it's all tied into your health. So I truly, truly believe that if somebody was to focus on one other thing, because I know it gets tough, the crunch time and all this, but if the one thing I would recommend people focus in on during their journey to success, it is absolutely their health. It's and how you feel is so important, right?
Yeah, and too, when I talk about health, as I get older, and this definitely comes back to health, I value time. Like, all of a sudden, like, I don't know, for some reason, I value my time. I'm not talking about like in business and about making money and time. I get all that, right? But I value my time on this earth more, and I think, okay, well, I want to be on this earth longer, and it's not even necessarily because I want to be on this earth longer. What I want to see is I want to see the generations. Do you know what I mean? I want to, create that generational wealth. I want to, live a productive life with, my grandchildren. And I don't want to be the grandmother that's, in a wheelchair and they just come see you every once in a while. I want to be the grandma that's going to Disney World, that's going to the park, that's going swimming, that's doing all of these things. So without health, it's hard to be there and to have the time that you want, or to have valuable, productive time. Right. So what? I mean, we were just talking about this today. Unfortunately, my father-in-law is on his deathbed, and the last 2 years of his life has been miserable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With dementia and with health. I'm not saying he did anything wrong health-wise, but it made me think, I don't want 2 years of my life like that. Do you know what I'm saying? And what can we do now, or what can you do now to where your health is going to give you a better quality of life, so that you have a better productive use of your time? Like, it's funny, you know how people say, God, the day's been so long. You know what I mean? People like say that. Like, actually, if I feel like a day has been so long now, I actually take that as a good thing. Like the other day, it was like last Saturday, I was at my house in Louisiana, and this is a health thing. It's going out, being active. It's seeing fun things, seeing a sunset. You know, I'm on the boat, and I'm watching a sunset, and we're fishing, we're doing different things, and I thought, golly, today felt so long. And I'm like, you know what? That is like the best days of my life are the days that feel long. I know that's weird, but to me, that's like a gift.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you know, you've used this key word a couple times now, and it's so important. Quality of life matters. And it's all about quality of life. And I'll tell you something interesting, and this is why I'm such a big proponent in staying healthy. I don't know if I've shared this with you, but they did this very famous survey, a study, recently, of people that lived over 100 years, right? Right now, they're over 100 years old. And they were trying to figure out what's the one common thing all these people have, right? Just take off the top of your head, what do you think the one common thing everyone over 100 years old has right now?
I would say they live a positive, healthy mental attitude.
Nope, nothing to do with that. Matter of fact, the study came up with this. There is nothing they have in common. They were finding nothing. Some of them smoke, some of them drink, some of them have been through multiple divorces, some of them have had horrific life along the way. So here's the point. Up until now, it's like the gene. You just got lucky. You just had the right genes and you lived over 100 years old. But this is why longevity and this is why quality is so important. We are the first generation right now that is going to be able to live over 100, but we have something to do with it. We will be able to control it. You know, you hear people talk about biohacking and things like that. The point is this, your father-in-law, bottom line is, you're right, there's nothing he could have done. But there's something our generation and the younger generations can do now. This is the first time ever that we could actually increase the quality of our lives.
And I definitely agree with you. And I'm starting to understand too, having a healthy mental state is really just as important of the foods and the things that you put in your body, because stress, being unhappy, holding on to grudges, those things like literally eat your life away.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Like the number one cause of a heart attack, or the catalyst event, is stress.
Stress leads to heart disease, which is the number one killer in men, and I'm sure it's up there in women. So bottom line is, there's a lot of things that we as individuals can do. Because here's the other thing. Now, I'll tell you something funny. As I'm sitting here and I'm looking over there, there's some really cool snacks over there, right? And the reason I bring that up is there were times where that would just draw me. Like I would literally, before we got started here, I would be over there. And there's still sometimes times like that. But one thing I found that as I've kind of continue my journey of success, that's a cool thing to be able to like. It is literally cool to me right now to be looking at something really cool, not very healthy for me, and be able to stop myself. You know what I mean? And so that's called discipline. And why is health and wealth so related? Well, interestingly enough, the things that you need to be wealthy is very many times the things that you need to be healthy. Discipline's one of them. I mean, how often do we seen people become unsuccessful or stop their journey to success because they just had no discipline? They had no discipline to make calls, make contacts,
Well, because sometimes
through.
the first time you're doing something, you get lucky, right? So you just expect luck to carry you, and it don't. You know, and then when we talk about food, and I'll tell you, like, some of my biggest problems is like, if you're feeling bad, right, you want to compensate your emotions with something, and food could be one of them. You know, like sometimes I'll have like a bad evening, and it just feels good to snack. Do you know what I mean?
Been there, done that.
It makes you, I don't know what it is.
Or have a drink.
Or have a drink, yeah, absolutely. You're like, okay, well, let me fix this emotion by putting it putting something on top of that emotion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No question about it. I'll tell you one thing that my mom has always said. I think I've shared this with you. She said, Pete, there's this part of your life where you're going to be running on all the cylinders. You're going to be grooving. And she would tell me when she was alive that, you're kind of in that part of right now. She says, enjoy it, because here's what happens. When you're younger, you don't have the money. And been there, done that, right?
Yeah.
But when you're older, you don't have the health. And so her point was very simple. I was already past the younger stage. Bottom line is this: why are health and wealth so related? I don't care how much wealth you got. If you don't got your health, it don't matter. I can tell you, there's probably plenty
You're
of...
right. Even if you're alive, but your quality of life is so terrible, you can't enjoy anything. Like we're talking about with the grandkids. Like, so what if you've got the money to take them to Disney World? If you can't walk around Disney World,
There's no question.
like, what good is it?
I guarantee you there's plenty of billionaires out there who are in very, very poor health, and I promise you they would trade their billions for better health. So the point is this. It's very important to be successful. Julie and I are never going to sit here and say, oh, who cares about being successful? Who cares about making money? Just be broke. It's okay. We don't buy into that philosophy. We unabashedly talk that it is absolutely great to be successful.
And you deserve it.
And you deserve it. There's no question about it. But I will also tell you, we also believe that quality of life matters. We also believe that health matters. And I think I speak on both of our behalves when I say health and wealth are absolutely related. So if you have to squeeze one more thing into your journey of success, squeeze the pillar of health. Because not only will it pay today, right? It'll pay today, I promise you. It'll pay for literally years and years to come.
Yeah, and too, that I want to mention, us saying these things out loud is also self-affirmations for us. Right? Just because we talk about it does not mean I sit here and say, okay, I'm the healthiest individual around, or I've got my stuff together. Obviously, I'm a little bit of a chunky girl, right? But these are great conversations, to have, and I'm glad, we're having these, and it's so right. Health is wealth. And even if you're wealthy, if you don't have your health, then what kind of quality of life is that, right?
100%. We 100% both believe it and live it and talk about it. Stay healthy.